Good stuff. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyeh bidvaro. Oh, Nathan, God bless you wherever you are. That's good. You're the man. Okay. I want to discuss where we are in the Jewish calendar right now. That's the first thing I want to figure out. And I want to figure out as well a little bit how it applies to the Parshiot, which happens to be falls regularly at this time. And it goes like this. We are between Pesach and Shavuot. Pesach and Shavuot, if you ask any average yeshiva kid, the period between Pesach and Shavuot, happy time, sad time. What would they say to you? Go to your average yeshiva boy, seminary girl, say, this Omer period, this time between Pesach and Shavuot, is this a happy time or is this a sad time? What would most young people say, or even old people say?
64% sad, 36% happy.
You say happy? You think most people say it's a happy time?
They should be.
They want to listen to live music. They can't. They want to get married. They want to have a chatuna. No, you got to wait till Lad Ba'omer, they'll tell you. So what exactly is this time period? The answer is you're absolutely right. This is an extremely happy time. And was for like 1,000 years. This period, ben Pesach to Shavuot, which is referred to in the Torah as Atzeret. Atzeret means to stop, to hold back. What are we holding back? We're going to see in a few moments. Just like we have 7 days of Sukkot, then Shmini Atzeret. That's 7 days. And then Shmini Atzeret. We have 7 weeks. And then Atzeret once again. Atzeret holds us back. We are going to stop something we've been doing, and we're going to enter a new reality. So 7 days goes to the 8th day. 7 weeks goes to the day after the 7 weeks. This is very, very important. It's going to give us a clue where we are. But it's a very happy time. Right? It's so happy we're even counting. We count, right? It's a shtickle Chol HaMoed. Yeah, we are counting. Now, there are many days that are numbered in the Jewish calendar, but we never count them. Right? We know there are Shloshim Yom, 30 days between Purim and Pesach. We know those 30 days, but we don't count them. We know there are 10 days between Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, but we do not count them. We don't count them. We just know that 10 days, Aseret, Yemei Teshuvah. And here when it comes to these days, we're counting. We know there are 8 days of Hanukkah, but we don't count them. We light lights on every corresponding night. But we don't say, Baruch atah Hashem, Hayom Yom Chamishi B'Chanukah. We don't do that. Right? We just don't do that. We say, on Hanukkah, we say we're on the 5th donut. Right? Today's the 5th day. We're going to eat 5 donuts a day. But that's as good as it gets. We have 12. Okay, but even though we're not counting the days, we will mark the days by a number, but we're not counting them. That is reserved for how? For this. Why are we counting? We're excited. We're excited. Right? We're anticipating the day of Shavuot. I think I mentioned this last night in the shiur over here to the young singles. And we said, but it's a very strange way to count. When you're looking forward to something, how do you count? You count down. Always count down. Right? The rocket is about to launch. It's 10, 9, 8, 7. You're always counting down. And yet we're counting up. That needs to be understood as well. Why are we counting up and not counting down? So the answer, one of the great answers we know from this is when you count down, you are dismissing every single day. You don't like those days in between. They are interrupting. They're interfering with you reaching that destination. It's 10 days to the vacation. It's 9 days. I don't want 10 days. I want 9 days. And on the 9th day, I want 8 days. And on 8th day, I want 7th day. So each day is frustrating me. I don't want it there. It's a blockage between me and my destination. And yet, we count up. When you count up, you're saying that each day is important and it counts. So day 1 is day 1, but day 2 is only day 2 because I had day 1. I need day 1 because I want to reach day 2. And day 10 is only day 10 because I had 1 through 9. And day 30 is only day 30 because I went from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 30. So every day there is a cumulative effect that comes with the days.
We count during the week.
What?
We count during the week towards Shabbat.
That's good. We do. We actually call each day. That's good. Nathan, I'm going to give you that one. That one you can have. Nate made a good point. Made a very good point. It's Yom Rishon or Yom Echad, Le Shabbat, Yom Rishon. Each day only has a number. We do number the days of the week because we're looking forward to Shabbat. But the same idea has to apply. We don't count down 7 down to 1. It could have been Hashem says count down, right? The first day of the week, Sunday, right, is day 7, and then count your way down. We don't do that. We count up because you only get to that point by working for 6 days to prepare for the 7th. That's very good. The same principle does apply. We do count those days, not with a bracha. I don't say I went to Shul this morning, Rabbi said I should count Tuesday, Hayom, Yom Shlishi Shabbat. No, don't do that, for goodness sakes. I'm in enough trouble. But we do. It must be, therefore, when you're counting upwards, you'll say that these days are important and valid and not obstructing my moments, my enjoyment of that final destination. That's what you're going to have to say. And that's what we do say. Right? Just like you want to reach the penthouse of a building, when you're building it up, you can't start at the penthouse. You got to go floor 1, floor 10, floor 20, until you reach the penthouse level. Shavuot is the penthouse. Every Jew wants to stay in the penthouse, right? He wants to stay. You don't want to be a schlepper on floor 2, right? You want to reach the top level. Okay. Why did it become a sad time? It is a sad time. There's an element of sadness which is laid upon that casts a shadow over the happy time. I said this last night. You've got to think of the Omer period as happy days like this, and then come along sad events that cast a shadow on top. But if you take away the sadness, what are you left with? Happiness again. It's not like you have nothing and then it became sad and then it goes away, right? Lo aleinu, like a shiva. That's not what it is. It's a really happy time. Come along the sadness days and they cast a shadow, but we're going to discard them on Lag BaOmer, right? We'll see for a few reasons why Lag BaOmer is so important. We're going to discard them and then they become happy. Not once again, they are happy. Inherently the days are happy. You're not reverting back to something, it just is. It remains as it was, happy days that you're building up towards Matan Torah of Shavuot of Atzeret. Okay, so what happened? So Rabbi Akiva lived at the time of the second Beit HaMikdash. Not the beginning or middle, but at the end. What was happening in Rabbi Akiva's days? What was going on, my friends? Was it a good time for the Jewish people? Was it a hard time for the Jewish people? It was terrible. We had false messiahs. We had the Romans coming in. Rabbi Akiva was forbidden to teach Torah and ended up being tortured to death at 120 years old because he taught Torah publicly. This was a very hard time. He got to see, says the Gemara in Makot, with his own eyes, the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. He prepared himself. And he prepared people do not know this or realize this. He prepared the Jewish people for exile. He knew the Jewish people were going to get kicked out of Israel. He understood that. He said, how are they going to survive? They're not going to know Hebrew. They're going to grow up among the Goyim, among the nations. What are they going to do? He says, I'm going to set up a rabbinical training program for Galut. Up to this point, we're in Israel. 99% of the Jews were in the land of Israel. He said, I'm going to set up a rabbinic training program. And all of these rabbis who I'm training are going to be sent into the Geolah, into exile, and are going to enter all the communities and keep Torah learning alive. Keep mitzvot going. How many students did he have to cover the entire Jewish world as he saw? 12,000 zugot, 12,000 chevrutot, 24,000 students. So these people were going to become the future of Torah learning for all of history until Mashiach arrives and the third temple was rebuilt. That was the plan. And so we had students throughout the land of Israel who were following his derech of limud, of Torah, You know, I gave an analogy last night, a couple of analogies. It's like a Chabad. He was like the Rebbe, if you will, although there was no Chabad in those days. And he said, we have all these Jews who are out there throughout the world. We have to train rabbis, right, in 770 or Morristown, wherever they are, to go out and to attach themselves to these communities. Like Ovadia Yosef. He's like, we have Sephardi community throughout the world. We're going to train them here in the land of Israel, but the goal is they will get smicha, they'll be part of our community, but we're going to send them out to Russia, send them out to Paris, to France, to New York, to Deal, to wherever they are, in order so that they can keep Jewish Torah, learning and mitzvot alive. But there was a problem. Something happened that he was not aware of, I assume, or he would have tried to address it. And what was that? The problem was, the people he was teaching were very knowledgeable, and they were very great. He would never have chosen them had they not been of a high caliber that he thought would be able to keep the flag of Torah learning alive in the Galut. Problem was, they were not nice to each other. Lo nagu kavod ze lezeh. They didn't give kavod one to another. Because of that, the Gemara in Yevamot and the Midrashim tell us, they all died. A plague occurred during this period, and it's not a coincidence that it happened during this period between Pesach and Atzeret, and they all died. Now, I'm not such a Torah scholar, but I'll be honest with you. I never saw anywhere that if a person is not nice and doesn't give kavod to their neighbor, they get killed. Yochayv mita. I'm not aware of that. I hear you speak Lashon Hara, you go into Galut, but you get to come back. You have Tzarat, but it heals. There are temporary, punitive measures against a person, but that you should get killed as a rabbi for not giving kavod one to another, that seems a little, in my humble opinion, excessive. You can have them punished, challenged, parnasah lo aleinu, whatever. But to say they deserve to die for not being nice to each other sounds like a little much. And if that were the real halacha, we'd all be in big trouble. And probably most rabbis in the world would be in big trouble as well. It seems a little excessive. But if you put in the first part of our discussion into this, it begins to make sense. Because if Rabbi Akiva was on a mission, and his mission was to bring Torah to the entire Jewish people in Galut, something like this, like not having good midot, ben Adam lachavero, would end up not just affecting these guys, it would affect the entire Jewish world for all of Jewish history, everywhere. And this was a chance that, if I may say, Hashem, because Hashem was the one who brought the machala upon these people, was not willing to take. You cannot begin an entire new world of Torah, Judaism, in the Geulah, in Galut, if they're going to be lacking kavod one for another. So this plague, this askara, this choking death, the COVID of their days, that ended up wiping out, or by the way, it could have killed more people. We just know about these 24,000. It could not have just been because they weren't nice, they all deserved to die. The problem was, my dear friends, that they were so important in the future creation of Torah centers throughout the world that this bad midot disease that was affecting them would have seeped out into the rest of the Jewish world, and every community would have been victim to it, and the whole Jewish world would have been affected by it from that point for another 2,000 years till Mashiach comes. And according to Chazal, the Jewish people would not have survived that, because mitzvot ben Adam lachavero are too important to be left out of the national consciousness. That is what happens, my friend. And that is why they died. Now imagine you're Rabbi Akiva for a minute, and you trained the 24,000, and they're all dead, and then you're like, well, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Right, we're about to go into Galut. All my weeks, months, and years put in my blood, sweat, and tears into these Rabbanim, it all failed. What would you do in that scenario? Really? You start again, Nathan? Come on. I'd be like, I tried. I did my very, very best to fix the situation. You know what? They messed up. Hashem, I'm patur. I'm totally patur for what I did. That's it. I'm done. He didn't do that. He found 5 Rabbanim. Now, there were many Rabbanim who were still alive in his day. The 5 Rabbanim that he chose to continue the Torah in the Galut, which, by the way, every single rabbi and teacher today, you have to say, their Torah somehow has come from these 5 Rabbanim. It's not just 5 guys who said, let me train you and off you go. He knew these 5 Rabbanim would have 10 students, who then have 50 students. The whole Jewish population was starting again. And therefore, he restarted the entire Jewish world for 2,000 years based upon these 5 Rabbanim. That is what he did, and that is how he created a future for the Jewish people. But most importantly, he spent the rest of his life saying to them, these 5 Rabbanim and their students, that 2 things. Number 1, be very careful how you treat each other. Your mitzvot, ben Adam lachaveiro, are going to distinguish your success as a Torah leader or your failure. I don't care how frum you are. I don't care your level of kashrut. I don't care your level of Shabbat. If you haven't figured out the ben Adam lachaveiro thing, it's not going to work. And number 2, no matter how bad life becomes and how difficult challenges are, you're always able to restart. There's a very great rabbi, you may have heard, who died in the past couple of days. Rabbi Shalom Lipska down in Miami. I had Baruch Hashem a relationship with him. I'd met him a number of times. I worked with his son on some projects. He was a very great man. He turned up in Miami. There was no Jewish community. I know Miami now, there's no non-Jewish community. Back then, there were no Jewish people. He had to send his wife to go find an apartment for them to live in, because he turned up with his long beard and hat. They would never have rented him an apartment. That's how, it's hard to believe that Bal Harbour, Miami, Aventura, these places were at such a level of anti-Semitism when he turned up. But 40 years ago, that's the way it was. He single-handedly turned it around. He built up that community and he created the shul. By the way, I always say, if you have something called the shul, that's impressive. It's like if you're the banker, you're doing well, right? If you are the doctor, you're doing great. If you have to stand and say, this is the shul, you're doing good. I'm glad to say that we are in the synagogue of the Upper East Side, Baruch Hashem, all right? Like all right? If you're known as the tzaddik, like Yosef, you've done well. If you're known as the Rasha, run. It's a bad sign, right? If you're Bilam, the Rasha, that's a bad sign. If you're known as the anything, if you're Elijah, the prophet, that's not his middle name, right? He's the prophet. We're all waiting to return. You put a the voice. So he came and said, this is the shul. That's him. Now there's 1,000 shuls. I was there, I davened there, but I also prayed in the Sephardi Bet Knesset, the Sephardi synagogue nearby. That wasn't the Sephardi, the rabbi tried. All right? It was the Sephardi synagogue. That's a tremendous kavod. That's a great thing. It's a beautiful minyan. Right, Koskas' son is over here. I prayed in your father's Bet Knesset. Very beautiful. Okay, fine, I'll give it to you. That's the Sephardi synagogue. But Rabbi Lipska, he's the melech. You couldn't take it away from him. Now you hear people, I watch the Petira, I watch the Levaya. People always say, we're never going to replace. It's never going to happen. We're done. Rabbi Akiva taught us. Rabbi Akiva lost 24,000 Rabbanim who are going to become the future of the Jewish people. And he said, everyone is replaceable. Even the worst scenario, right? As my friend once said to me, one of my advisors, he said, the cemetery is full of people who said, I'm irreplaceable. It's a hard pill to swallow. No one has a monopoly on Jewish leadership. There's always someone to fill your place. And so we suffer a great loss. And it hurts us, and it pains us. But the sign of listen very carefully, the sign of a true great Torah leader, the sign of a true great organization is that it continues on after their death. Cults always die out with their leaders. That's a sign whether you're part of a cult or you're part of a true Jewish organization. Does the organization continue after the leader leaves or dies or is killed? Right? That's going to be the proof. If the organization continues with other leaders in the same fact, then you know you've actually reached an organization that wasn't built upon even the most charismatic. It's okay to have charisma, or riz, as my kids tell me it's now referred to. Don't say charisma, you got to say riz. Yes, that's good, and it continues. But even Moshe Rabbeinu was careful to replace himself, or Hashem was careful to replace him while he was still alive with Yoshua ben Nun. It was never just about him. It's always about the people that they lead. And so too, Miami, 100% is suffering a great loss, but it will continue. And that's true for every community throughout history. God willing, we'll be able to follow in the footsteps of our great leaders, B'ezrat Hashem, and to create new and great leaders who can forge a future for our people. Have a great, successful day.